Hello and welcome to Witchy Wellness Radio. I'm your host, Loren Cellentani, women's holistic health coach and fellow recovering perfectionist. This podcast was created to show you that your body is not in the way, it is actually leading your way. Hello, everybody. I am so excited to finally put this creative project in the works. This name and this concept has been in my mind for over a year now, and I'm so thrilled to finally share it all with you. A little lowdown on our first episode of Witchy Wellness Radio. I'm going to go through why the name Witchy Wellness, what to expect in future episodes, and my why behind creating this whole thing to begin with. So everybody's probably wondering, I know you're on the edge of your seats, why the name Witchy Wellness? And let me be the first to tell you that this is not a show on how to become a witch. You will not hear anything about witchy spells or anything of that nature, but we will be touching on a lot of mystical things. But witchy is just really a term to explain all of this mind-body connection stuff. And the show is about how to step out of our stressed out minds and selves and into learning how to really trust our inner guidance system and intuition. And it's actually through this awareness of our emotions and all of our body's physical sensations that they are actually telling us what we need to do and where to go next. So our bodies, in my mind, are really the most spiritual and mystical things about us. And through working with our own physical bodies, we can actually work towards total well-being, which I do think is some witchy work. Another reason why I use the term witch is another way of kind of helping shift perspectives on what it means to be a witch, or in other words, a feminist to begin with, or just a woman really fully expressing her emotions, or maybe speaking her mind. Ooh. Because for the past, a few thousand years, women who actually felt emotions or did work like this, they were labeled as witches. And we all know how that all turned out. Either burned at the stake or in later years called crazy, thrown into institutions. So my purpose with the name witch is to help all of us as women, or just really any human beings, realize that we are meant to feel, and we're really meant to feel all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. And by listening to said feelings, this is where your power lies. Your body is truly leading the way forward and sending you warning signs every single minute. And by letting it flow through you, or just allowing yourself to feel it, can not only be really scary, but it can be triggering because, let's be honest, our culture is looked down upon. Being quote unquote emotional has not been the greatest for a long time. And my hope with this show is to help enlighten everybody that times are a-changin', and kind of open your eyes and ears and your sixth sense on how to really tap in and trust your inner guidance system or your intuition. How do the two terms witchy and wellness link together? I'm going to let you in on a little secret that I let all my clients know, is that we're not actually chasing after that end goal of losing those 10 pounds or clearing up our skin. We're actually searching after that end feeling, the way you are going to feel when you get that goal or that thing. And this applies to any area of life, whether it's money, relationships, wellness, career, you name it. And how this applies to your wellness is I would like you to imagine coming home and not having to stress about the what, the when, the where of meal prep, and finally letting yourself go for not working out every single day because you're afraid of the 5 pounds you might gain back. Using these witchy principles through our wellness, we will learn how to tap into moment-to-moment decisions of how we want to feel, that feeling of that end goal, and bringing that back to now. What can I do now? What can I do today to already feel like I've already lost that weight or feel like my back pain is gone? All right, so now that we have a little bit of basis of why the name Witchy Wellness, I want to kind of jump into my why behind this podcast, or a little bit behind my story, behind the microphone, if you will. So most of my life, I was a perfectionist, and I really still am to this day. But I always needed to do everything quote unquote right, or be the best at it, or perfect at it. And I love to control every single thing in my life down to every minute detail. And while I do think being a perfectionist, kind of more type A, go-getter personality is actually a good thing, I have learned that there are some pitfalls and how to work with those to still be able to do all of the things, but just not do all of the things at once. So my health journey actually started out when I was at a part in my life when I just graduated college, and I was probably 15 or 20 pounds heavier than I've ever been and had chronic anxiety. My first panic attack actually was during the middle of my college graduation, which was not the most fun, but nonetheless a huge wake-up call. So a few months later, I kind of just looked myself in the mirror one day, and more so out of self-hate than love, realized I didn't love the way I looked, and that I really vowed to start eating healthy. And at that moment, I became vegan for about a couple years. And yes, the weight did melt off when you stop eating frozen processed crap and start eating better food. Magically, things happen. And as time went on, I was able to kind of maintain my panic or anxiety with, newfound breathing techniques or mindfulness applications. But I really, at the end of the day, even though I felt like I had the ideal body, my skin was clearing up, really met that end goal, I still wasn't happy. I was still stressed out. I felt like anytime I wanted to do something, my to-do list was just never ending. It was overwhelming. And when I started to kind of look deeper into how I was feeling, it was kind of just an overflow of shame and rage, despair. I mean, to be honest, a lot of victimhood, that, it really just wasn't fair that I always did everything right. I was eating the right foods. I was even, at this point in my journey, working out just about every single day. I had not been this fit ever in my life. Yet I kept getting these internal signals from my body and being put in situations and relationships that were just always mirroring back to me that, something was off, something wasn't right. So during this time, I was literally doing everything right. I wasn't eating any sugar. I was gluten-free, vegan. I was going to 3 different energy healers, a therapist, a coach, I was searching for anyone to tell me the answers. What was wrong with me? Tell me what to do and I'll do it. I'll fix it. But I did not look inside. I didn't realize that I already had the answer. And it got to the point where I would literally, internally, yell at my body to just shut the fuck up. And, just get with the program already, girlfriend. And we're going to do this. It'd be great if you came along for the ride. My body was screaming at me to wake up. Eventually, I got it through my thick skull that how I was living my life, completely disconnected from my inner guidance, completely disconnected from my body, even though I looked like I was in shape, I looked like I was healthy, I looked like I was doing everything right, I knew that something was clearly off in my life and how I was treating myself, how I was thinking to myself. Now, I would love to say that this moment was the only moment that my body was screaming at me and I did this, but I've now realized that this was a pattern. This was a negative self-talk pattern that needed to heal. And my critical ego, wasn't necessarily to blame, but, I needed to take responsibility for where I was in life, how I felt. And how I did this was I started to slowly but surely follow those literally gut instincts. It might have not made sense to other people from the outside, but I started living my life the way that my body was telling me to. And lay the boundaries down for relationships outside of myself, but first and foremost, relationships inside of myself. Because, we all have heard of the cheesy self-talk of how are you going to have a relationship with anybody else when you can't love yourself first. And amen, preach, prayer hands, insert here, because, whew, girl, that is so true. And my hopes is through sharing my story, but having conversations with other women, other practitioners, other people to kind of open your eyes up into how maybe you're spiritually bypassing your own issues, that maybe looking at that dark, shadowy side of yourself, maybe a fellow perfectionist here, and really addressing how you might have self-destructive behaviors, but how adding in more joy, positivity, and witchy wellness techniques, you can really take responsibility for where you are and where you want to go and start closing that gap. But the shift starts when you realize that no one else has the answers for you, that the work is your work and you work alone. You can reach out for help, for coaching and guidance, but no one can tell you what to do, what's wrong, what's your path, what's the best thing for you to eat, what lights you up to go exercise or move your body. The answer is to start tuning in to yourself, start listening and trusting and surrendering to the fact that, you know what, you do know what's best for you. We're not going to talk here about the best new diet or 30-day exercise fix. We are going to chat here, real conversations about how to be present with yourself, and most importantly, how to bring the most joy and pleasure and fun into each and every moment. And seriously, I'm not joking here. This is how I lead my wellness life, is continually asking myself, what is the most fun thing I can do next? Which might surprise you, but the end goal is to be happy. The end goal is to have fun. And I don't think a strict and self-deprecating diet plan is the way to go. I mean, imagine, wouldn't you love to have fun working out, or actually to begin with want to work out. I know I was able to kind of force myself to adhere to a strict diet for years, but getting my ass off that couch and even into a yoga class, let alone actually weightlifting or running or anything heavy lifting, was a struggle. I would like to say that I did anything, but for years I was literally a couch potato and ate lettuce. If it's not fun, why are you doing it? Seriously, take a second, think that. There's your first question bomb for you to ponder. If you're not having fun, why are you doing it? Because we all say that we have bills to pay, we have to work, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, every single thing that you do is a choice. Which leads me into our next point of who is this show actually for? And if you haven't already collected that, it's for women, surprise! But mostly for the go-getter, overachiever. I have to have it all together, and I have to do everything, and I have to do it all at once. Kind of woman, my kind of gal. Now, while most of the things that we talk about here can be applied universally, I will touch a lot on moon cycles or menstrual cycles, which apply to women, obviously, but not so much men. And we will talk about the balance of masculine and feminine. And while each sex does have a balance of both, we will specifically be talking about how the masculine and feminine play out as roles in a female or modern day woman's life. The main topic that's probably the most near and dear to my heart is combining spirituality and kind of the mindfulness sector with your health and wellness. So still living an active and healthy diet lifestyle, but kind of taking a look at why we're doing that and if it's healthy for us on a holistic level and how we feel about it, but also how we look at taking care of ourselves differently from a spiritual perspective. Our bodies, in my belief, are the most spiritual thing about us. And it's our divine duty. It's our birthright to take care of these vessels because they're the ones leading us forward. They're the ones giving us feedback. This is your intuition, your body. And the more that you're tuned into it and the more that you respect and take care of it, the easier life will just flow. And in all honesty, the happier you're going to be. So that is the show for today, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. If anybody has any questions or has any suggestions for interviews, feel free to pop over to my website, LorenCellentani.com. Shoot me an email with any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them on a podcast episode. And remember, open up, surrender, trust, and let your body lead the way. Hey guys, like what you heard today and want to hear more and don't want to wait until the next podcast comes out? Head over to LorenCellentani.com/freebie-download to sign up for my free monthly meditation series, Let's Meditate. Now, I only email about twice a month, and one of those always includes a free meditation, which means each of those emails is packed with juicy info, like latest news on the Witchy Wellness Radio, my new blog post, and of course the free monthly meditation series, Let's Meditate. And lastly, exclusive openings for email list subscribers only to work with me. So head on over to LorenCellentani.com/freebie-download for this month's feature freebie meditation, which means you can download this month's meditation instantly and not have to wait for the next month to be sent out. Instant download means instant healing. Thanks, and I hope you guys enjoy.